What are F1 development tokens? If you've been following any of the F1 car launches this season or watched pre-season testing, you'll have probably heard the term development tokens. It's been mentioned time after time, but what actually is a development token and what does it do? Essentially, these tokens have been introduced as the development of F1 cars have been limited between 2020 and the end of the 2021 season. These tokens permit a team to change a component of last year's car, with the finite amount of tokens restricting them from basically designing a whole new machine for this season. Each team has been given 2 tokens, but just like a kid with pocket money, you have to spend them wisely. There are limits on where you can spend these tokens. For example, teams have to use their 2020 chassis again this season. However, other areas of the car have been assigned 1 or 2 tokens depending on what the item or group of items is. There are loads of frozen components that require tokens, meaning each team has to seriously consider what they need to amend to be competitive this season. Let me give you an example. If you want to change the front floor structure of the car, it'll cost 1 token. Want to change the clutch? 1 token. How about the inboard front or rear suspension? Oh, that'll be 2 tokens for each. How about brake calipers? Surely they don't cost 1 token for each. Even changing the location of the fire extinguisher or water drink system will cost you 1 token each. So you can see how 2 tokens can be spent far too easily and needs lots of consideration. Why the need for these tokens anyway? Well, with the new F1 2021 regulations being pushed back a year as a direct result of the coronavirus pandemic, the championship wanted to introduce a system that helped cut costs on upgrading their cars for a single year. The tokens means teams will only be able to spend their money on set items rather than a brand spanking new car, which definitely benefits the teams who don't have big budgets to do that anyway. During the car launches, some teams were happy to discuss where they'd spent their tokens, whereas others like Mercedes were much more protective of this information. Let's start with McLaren. They've been given a special pass which has allowed them to make the necessary modifications to their car to fit their swanky new Mercedes power unit. Both their tokens have been spent on fitting this new engine into its chassis, with the FIA monitoring the whole change like a hawk to make sure they weren't trying to get any more cheeky gains that would help their performance on track. Another Mercedes-powered car, Williams, have said they have spent 1 token this year and the other last year on something that was frozen. It's proven to be very difficult to spot what's exactly changed, so it's presumably something internal for this year. Aston Martin have spent both their tokens on a new survival cell. However, there is some controversy about the fact the team can upgrade its rear suspension without spending any tokens at all. Aston Martin can upgrade any of the 2019 non-listed parts from Mercedes that it used last year, and now use the 2020 specifications all without spending a single token. Some of the teams weren't particularly impressed with this, but it's black and white within the rulebook. For anyone wondering if Haas would also benefit from this, they can't, as all of their Ferrari parts last year were 2020 spec anyway. The final Mercedes-powered car is the Mercedes itself, and in typical Merc fashion they have been very elusive on how they've spent their precious development tokens. Mercedes have spent them both, but during the W12 launch broadcast, James Allison, the technical director, said he wouldn't share where the upgrades had been placed as he didn't want to give hints to the competition. Another team that has kept tight-lipped is Red Bull. They looked insanely strong in pre-season testing but have yet to share where the tokens have been spent on their RB16B. Their sister team, however, have been happy to share that they've made changes to the front of the car. AlphaTauri and its beautiful AT02 Beast has used their development tokens to adjust the front suspension and slim down the car's nose. Alfa Romeo have also made changes to the front of their car with a new nose box and crash box which they think will improve airflow. Ferrari are in desperate need of a good season after a shocking 2020. Their main focus has been on the rear of the car, and no, we're not talking about the dodgy red to burgundy gradient or revolting green logo either. Taking inspiration from Mercedes' rear suspension last year, Ferrari have tried to get back the lost downforce it suffered during the 2020 season. Although the token limit has caused some restrictions, we all hope that the team can get back to the front of the field soon. Not a fanboy, just passionate.
I'm not a fanboy, just passionate!
Another team wanting to use their tokens on the rear of their car is Alpine. Once again, Alpine is a team that hasn't explained where the tokens have been used specifically, but they've chucked it at the rear of everyone's favourite shiny blue car. And finally, Haas have their sights firmly on 2022 and have not used any of their development tokens. Overall, teams have spent their tokens across a huge range of areas on their respective cars. It'll be interesting to see if they have used their tokens in the correct areas, and if F1 will consider introducing a token system full-time to help reduce costs and stop teams with big budgets being super competitive and running away with the championship every year. Are you a fan of this token system? Let us know in the comment section below.